Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a different kind of video today. So I'm going to start out by saying I apologize. I missed the upload last or 2 weeks ago. Um, do apologize for that. My company that I work for is doing a big product launch right now, so I've been really, really busy with that, and unfortunately, I just haven't had very much time to play games. Never mind record and edit them. I did have another video I was going to try and edit up for today, but then this happened, and this was really, really big news. So I felt like, you know what, that video can kind of go on the back burner. Maybe I'll put it up next week or 2 weeks from now when the next upload would be. We'll see. But War Machine Mark IV, massive, massive news. We've been on Mark III for something like 6 years now, and there's a lot of different opinions on this, and everyone's got something to say about this, whether it's good or bad. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, but I just want to kind of go through the changes, talk about my personal opinions on them, as well as what I've seen being said in the discords, and we'll kind of go from there. So I tried to get Reed to record this with me because I find these types of videos are always better when they're a discussion and not just a one-sided thing. But unfortunately, he's not very interested in doing that type of content. So we're just gonna get right into this. So War Machine Mark IV has been announced, and they had a lot of stuff here. So first of all, why are they doing this? So living games have a shelf life. That is to some degree true. I think getting a Mark IV was definitely necessary. I agree that Mark IV was something that the game needed. The game has been in a really weird state. It's had a lot of ups and downs over the last few years, but generally speaking, over the last 6 years, I would say it's been trending towards the low end, and that's not a good thing. We definitely need something to come in, liven up this game a little bit. I mean, part of why I started this YouTube channel is because I love this game so much and I wanted to be able to help push the community for this game because I really think there needs to be more players. So like one thing that's one of the reasons why I started this channel was so I could start it as a War Machine channel, create more War Machine content because War Machine desperately needed more content, but then also I could expand into other games and use those other games to pull wargamers into War Machine, and that was kind of the grand plan with this channel. And I haven't really started doing that yet. I think there's one video on the channel that's not War Machine. But that is something that I've been actively trying to do. And on top of that, I've been making an effort to go to my local game store every Sunday. I've been playing games there. Just bring and read with me, and we've been playing games at our local game store, trying to create any interest in the game that we can because we love this game so much and we really wanted to see it do well. So, new edition is a chance for it to do that. It's a spark, right? The game has lost a lot of momentum, and I think this is something that can bring a lot of momentum to a game. Now, on the flip side, this is also something that can kill a game. So, really, really hoping we get the former and not the latter of this. And I do like that they actually included a meme that I was seeing people say in the Discord shortly before this dropped. There are only two things wargamers hate: the way things are and change, and it's true. So no matter what your opinions on this update specifically are, I think it's important to understand that from a business perspective, from a game perspective, this needed to be done to keep the game alive, to keep it so there's going to be players because it was dying, and that means change is necessary. And we've all had complaints. Every single person who's played this game has some sort of complaint about it. Um, but none of us are going to be 100% satisfied with every single change they've made. And I think it's important to kind of look at the big picture, look at the game as a whole, and think about where this is going to be, a year from now, not necessarily where it is right now, especially with how little we know, because we really don't know much. They gave us tons of information here, but there's so much more to come. So we're going to go through this here. How to blow up the world without hurting anyone. Um, so there was too many models. This is one of the things where I am a little bit I'm a little bit annoyed about, but again, I understand that it's necessary. There was way too many models in the game, so they're splitting the game into Unlimited and Prime. So Unlimited is basically Legacy, and Prime is basically what is, main tournament legal. This is going to be their competitive side of the game is going to be Prime, whereas Unlimited is going to kind of be, here's where you get to use all of your models. Um, so thoughts on this? I think I'm glad that they didn't just say these models don't exist. I'm glad that they chose to go this route instead of combining models because there was also talk of them doing that where they say, these three models that kind of look similar and fill a somewhat similar role, they're going to be one model. My example being a Legion of Evervoid player would have been legionnaires and swords, bladed Nis swordsmen. Like there was on one hand they totally could have just taken those two units and said they're the same unit now, and I'm really glad they didn't because one thing I've always liked about this game is that all the models are very unique, and I think keeping that is important. So I'm glad they're not doing that. What I'm still a little iffy on is the fact that this means not all models are going to be considered. I'm going to be referring to this as standard, um, kind of because my local group has been doing a lot of card games lately, so that's kind of the terminology that we've been switching to. So, not everything being in standard is definitely a sore spot. I've never really been a fan of like standard rotations, although it doesn't sound like it's really going to be a rotation. It sounds like it's more of a clean slate. Um, but we'll see how that goes going forward. Again, this is something we don't know enough about to speculate on. They have stated that if a model is unlimited, it doesn't necessarily mean it will never be in Prime. So that was a question that got asked a lot, and I did see Lauren answer it. She said basically that it's a little foggy at the moment, but it's possible. They're leaving themselves open to bring models out of unlimited and into Prime. So what does this mean right at the start? We're getting a couple of armies in Prime. I think Signar and Orgoth are what we're starting with. And then slowly they're going to release two prime armies for every single faction in the game. So they're starting out with four main factions. There's going to be Signar, Orgoth, the oh I forget what they're called. I'll find the name later, but there's a newer one that we don't know much about yet, and then Khador, and they're gonna get at least two armies per faction, and then they're also going to pull two legacy armies from all of the factions that already exist in the game. So we're gonna see two Grimkin, two Retribution, two Legion, two Circle, two Scorn, two Menoth, two Crix, two of all of the above. And those armies are going to be comprised of legacy models. Now, for say the Signar one, those ones will probably get less legacy models brought back because they're getting new releases right at the launch. Um, this is interesting to me. This is a little worrying for me because I think the amount of models that are going to be in standard is going to be on the lower side. Now, again, we haven't seen everything yet, but that is definitely a little bit concerning to me. So that's something that does need to be kept in mind. One other thing they're going to be doing is Warjack customization, which is really, really cool. I think this is something that Warmachine is really well designed to do. It's a little disappointing that it sounds like they're not going to be doing this for legacy Warjacks. It's only going to apply to the new ones, which definitely makes sense. But with some of the multi-kits, it would have been relatively easy for them to apply this to existing ones as well. I'm just thinking the main Khador body and the three jacks that you build off of that, or four jacks or whatever it is, would be pretty easy to do that for. But they're going very, very pro magnetization here. They're going to be including magnets in the kits as well as pre-drilled holes for the magnets. So arm swaps, head swaps, all of it going to be very relevant and affect the game in a big way. And it's going to be encouraged that you actually swap them out between your armies and stuff. So that's one thing that I think they're doing that's really, really cool. Supporting that sort of mechanics are really awesome. And the way they were wording the cards, which I'll talk about later, it sounds like there might even be ways to like flip them out mid-game, which would be really, really cool. Just imagine the start of the game, you start out with a really long range cannon on your warjack, and then you have a mechanic run up to it and flip it out to, a little minigun or something like that. Super cool. I really want to see where they go with that because honestly, these new sculpts look fantastic, and I think warjacks are just going to be really, really cool on the table going forward. Um, they take a bit of a dig here at Age of Sigmar, which I thought was funny. That was good. Talking about how they didn't want to just blow up the game, and I'm glad they're not just blowing up the game because God, I love the setting for Iron Kingdoms. Um, and then yeah, so the new mechanics that are not backwards compatible with legacy models, um, but they say they're doing their best to balance it. So I'm gonna trust them. Privateer Press has always been really, really good with balance, and that's something that I think they will hopefully be able to continue doing well. Um, Moving on, they're introducing command cards in Mark IV. So if anyone's played Marvel Crisis Protocol, it sounds like they're going to be kind of similar to that. You're going to have a hand of 5 cards that are going to be treated kind of like mini feats. And basically, they're going to be general use cards that will, honestly, when Reed and I were talking about them, they kind of feel like they're going to be almost similar to Arcana cards, but more like Arcana cards that focus on singular targets instead of having entire board altering effects, which is really cool. Um, I think I think that's something interesting that they're adopting from other games. I also kind of compare them to stratagems from 40K. They're kind of just going to be toolbox things that you can use to support your army, and I think that's cool. I think that's a good strategic element to add to the game. I think it's getting a little overused. Almost every game has some sort of card effect now, or like limited amount use effect now. Um, and I think that's a little bit overused, but we'll see how they do it. At the end of the day, I trust Privateer Press to make good rules, so that's good. Then we're going on, they talk more about the unlimited stuff. Did I skip the part about spells? Because the spells are really cool. I don't think I did. No, so we'll get there in a second. All right, factions and armies and cadres. Oh my. Okay, so this is kind of cool. This is gonna take some time to wrap my head around. I don't think I fully acknowledge what this means yet, but um, maybe that's just me. I think I need to see it before I'll fully get this. But basically, you pick your faction as you normally would, and then after that, it breaks down into armies. So the armies are kind of the equivalent of theme forces, but it sounds like you're basically being forced to play theme now. Which, let's be real, in Mark III, if you weren't playing on theme, what were you doing? Um, so that works for me. That part seems fine. They did mention somewhere a breakdown of what kind of the amount of models you'll see in an army are going to be. I think that might be. Oh, here it is. An army includes 3 warcasters, 2 warjacks, and 5 to 6 units, and a handful of solos. That's a little concerning for me in terms of list customization and how many options you're going to have. I understand that warjacks are going to be super customizable now because you're going to be able to pop out the arms and the heads, and all of those things will make changes. That's really cool. So 2 base warjacks doesn't worry me too much because that really is like a lot of warjacks, which is already kind of a thing, theme to theme. 5 to 6 units and a handful of solos isn't super far off from what themes are already looking at. I mean, a lot of them actually have less than 5 to 6 units, so that's probably a good thing. 3 warcasters. Warcasters being theme locked is a little concerning to me, but we'll see. Like my main concern there is there's gonna kind of be 3 lists per theme, and that's pretty much the only thing you make with some small changes between them and which solos you're bringing. But generally speaking, this caster likes these units, this caster likes these units, and that's just how you break that down. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. And then you get to cadres, and these are basically models that are cross faction. So something that you'll probably see commonly in here would be like mechanic models. They're probably going to be able to be brought in almost all of the armies. So that's good. I like that we're going to have models that are cross army. That'll hopefully widen up the selection a little bit more, which is good. Mercs and minions are probably still going to be a thing. They're mentioned somewhere below. Um, but we'll see how they handle those because I mean their armies I think are going to be good. But we'll see how they handle putting them in here. It'll probably be very similar to the current method. But I could see them locking them to armies now instead of factions. So instead of saying this mercenary will work for these factions, it says it'll work for these armies, which is fine. If anything, that's just more thematic. So that's good. So Hordes is being rebranded into Warmachine. I mean, this has kind of always been just like a silly thing. It's Warmachine and Hordes, Warmahordes, whatever you want to say. And now it's just Warmachine. This is fine. This will make it easier to look up on Amazon or eBay when I go looking for used models. Um, so that's fine. I have no problem with this. I also don't think it necessarily needed to happen. They're still keeping the difference between Warjacks and Warbeasts. But that's gonna be that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it was always just Warmachine. I saw a really good meme that was like the guy staring at the earth and saying, "Wait, it's this," and the other guy behind him with the gun saying, "It always has been." Where it's "Oh wait, it's just Warmachine, always has been," and it's great. It's a good meme. I'll put it on screen if I can find it again. Um, but anyways, so going on from that, they did decide to focus on only the Warcaster-led armies at launch. So Hordes is going to be slow rolled out. The rules for Hordes are going to be there right away, but in terms of, like I said, they're going to be doing 2 armies for each faction. Those Warlock-led armies are going to be rolled out slowly, as will the other Warmachine ones. So we're going to get some of them right away, and some of them, unfortunately, are going to be a while until we actually see them. But that's okay. That just means they'll have a little bit more time to fine tune them, and we get to see the new stuff sooner. So I'm okay with them doing this. It means we're going to be a little bit slow to start, especially for Hordes players, myself included in that, because Legion's one of my favorite factions. So having to wait a little bit longer on Legion does hurt a little bit, but that's okay because I know we'll get them eventually. I'm curious as to which themes they're going to transfer over. Crossing my fingers on Primal Terrors, but that's again something that I'm a little bit concerned with, is which of my models are actually going to be obsolete now, because I mean you can see through the videos in the past I'm already playing the kind of jank, not that good, outdated stuff. Outdated's the wrong word with Warmachine, but um like I play grotesques with Lilith because grotesques are cool looking models. Do I expect grotesques to make it into Prime? No, they're probably going to be considered Legacy, and it is what it is. Hopefully Legacy is still going to be a semi-balanced format, and I'll be able to play Legacy a lot, but I'm expecting for the most part everything's going to be Prime. Warroom is dead. Long live Warroom. I'm really happy about this one. So Warroom, as most Warmachine players know, if you also play other war games, Warmachine has one of the best apps for their war game. A lot of war game apps are really not that good, and a lot of war games you're better off just using Battlescribe. So having Warroom kind of being revamped into a new app, I'm fine with that. I love that they're sticking with the app thing. They're keeping all the game rules and all the model rules free, which is a big thing for me. I have almost all of them purchased on Warroom, but the fact that they've been free from the start, the fact that I've been able to look at the model rules whenever I want for free, has been a huge boost to me with this game, and just my attitude towards Privateer Press as a company. So the fact that they're continuing to do that is fantastic, and they're making it even easier. They're removing the card deck purchases. So if you were kind of turned away from Warroom and you were like printing off the cards yourself or something like that because of that barrier to entry on Warroom, they're not even doing that anymore. Everything is 100% free there. That said, the Warmachine app will be offering a subscription option to store multiple army builds and receive monthly premium content. Okay, so people were crying doom in the Discord. But I think this isn't as bad as people make it sound. As a matter of fact, I think this is a very, very good thing. So, specifically, they mentioned storing multiple army builds. The keyword here is multiple. Um, from what I've heard, it seems like you are still able to have somewhere between 1 to 3 army builds in the app, possibly an unlimited amount if it's all on local storage. I've heard a little bit of back and forth on that, and I don't think we got official confirmation from Lauren. But having at least 1 to 3 that you can actually save and you can play with just like you would be able to on Warroom if you had them purchased is fantastic. If you want to be able to store an unlimited amount, possibly just through cloud, possibly on local, again, still a little foggy on that, that's where you need the subscription. And you know what? To me, that is 100% a-okay. You can still build the lists on the app and then have them just kind of chilling somewhere in a text document or something, and then build up the list when you actually need to play the game. So if you really don't want to pay the subscription fee, you can still store your list somewhere. Um, and then the monthly premium content is the part that's really, really exciting to me. So somewhere down here, they mention no quarter. I don't know where it is. Um, more of the Signar models here. They look absolutely gorgeous. Um, but let's see, here it is. For those of you who enjoyed No Quarter in the past, that's the sort of content they're aiming for, a monthly delivery of new content through the app. This is really, really exciting news to me, and I can tell you right now, I am signing up for this app on day one. Having access to No Quarter style content, I missed No Quarter. I wasn't serious about the game when No Quarter was being done. Um, so I never got to experience that, but I picked up some of the no quarters that I've been able to find over the last few years, and I absolutely love those. They've got fluff, they've got painting guides, they've got rules information, custom scenarios. Those sorts of things are things that I live for. Fluff is one of my favorite parts about Warmachine. I know the rules aren't particularly fluffy normally, but honestly, they even kind of feel like it sometimes. Just the way the rules are written, they have so much freedom to what models can do that it allows you to really see that model doing its thing. And War Machine lore, like Iron Kingdom's lore in general, I DM for the IOK RPG because the setting is fantastic, and I cannot wait to see no quarter delivered through something like that. That's going to be fantastic, and I really hope that goes for a while because take my money, Privateer. That is fantastic. So the app is a huge win, and um, like the ability to store force builds being locked behind a paywall, assuming that is local storage as well, not just cloud, is a little worrying. But honestly, the fact that you can still use the app without paying for it and you can still play games without paying for the app is absolutely fantastic. This is a bonus and an upgrade in almost every way, if not every single way, from Warroom. So this is fantastic. I'm really excited about this. So Evolve or Die, the primary differences here. So they're supporting 50, 75, and 100 point formats. 50 points is estimated right now to be give or take 22 models. That's including 2 to 3 units, it sounds like. Or sorry, 2 to 4 units. And 2 to 4 warjacks as well, it looked like. Caster, and then a handful of solos. That sounds roughly Brawl Machine sized, maybe a little bit bigger. So I know Line of Sight has already stated that they are not going to be doing a Brawl Machine Mark IV. That would be disappointing to me if 50 points didn't look like it was basically the equivalent. This also to me implies we might see different scenarios at these different sizes, which would be pretty interesting. But yeah, so there is going to be still a roughly Brawl Machine size format. That's going to be something that I will probably be playing a lot. 75 I think is going to be basically what 50 points is now. And then 100 is probably going to be the equivalent to our 75 point right now. Don't quote me on that. I haven't taken a look at all the models for everything here, but that seems interesting. That I'm glad that they're supporting multiple formats officially, because it really has been a very 75 point focused game up until now. Um, so yeah, it's a little disappointing we're losing kind of the fan format feel behind Brawl Machine. But also getting an official size that's close to Brawl Machine is really, really exciting. And props to the Line of Sight guys because they did a fantastic job with that. And I really hope Privateer Press can do just as good with the official version because that's my favorite way to play the game. So yeah, moving on. Command cards. So these are purchased in your force construction. Like I said, you get five of them, and it sounds like some of them are going to be free, and some of them, the more powerful ones, will actually have points equipped to them. So if you want to spend points on those, instead of getting a couple solos or something like that, you could have a really strong hand. That's good. I think that's a cool customization. We'll have to see how they do it, but I do like the method they're going for with it. Um, the next thing here is really, really exciting. Warcasters with customizable spell racks. So this part is really, really cool, and something that I've been wanting Warmachine to do for a long time is add customizable spells. Um, Customizable spells are just something that I feel like the game should have had, like fluff-wise, a long time ago. The Warcasters in the game are not limited to especially some of the lower ones, like three spells, four spells on a card. The Warcasters in the universe are not limited to that many spells. So I'm really, really excited to see how they're going to do this. It sounds like some of them are going to be fixed, so they're more signature spells they'll always have on them. And then other spells will be taken from a list that sounds like it's going to be personalized to the caster. So that's really, really exciting for me. I can't wait to see it. Either everyone will have TK or no one will have TK. Fingers crossed. But no, it's really cool. It's a great customization option that I'm glad we're seeing. Just the amount of customization that they're trying to put into this is really, really nice, and I'm happy with that. Warjacks I already spoke about earlier, but they're going to have multiple weapon and head options, and the head will kind of represent the cortex. I'm down for this. This is going to be cool. I think they're basically going to treat the weapon options as you would expect weapon options, and then the cortex options will kind of be things that are just on the body. So you know how like on the stat card you'll see the different abilities that the weapon has, but then there's also the abilities that the warjack itself has. I think that's what we're going to see with these. Is going to be those warjack based options. So that's going to be really, really cool. And then we get a picture of some of the new Orgoth stuff here. Looks super good. I think this is all stuff we've seen before at this point, but still looks really, really good. I've been really happy with the way they've been doing these. So they are switching their materials. I don't know entirely what the reaction to this is going to be. I've heard a bit of both, good and bad here. But basically, they're ditching metal, they're ditching overseas plastic, and they're ditching resin. They're going to be almost entirely going to 3D printing, which is really, really cool. Um, 3D printing has come a long way. I fully trust that the quality on these things are going to be top notch, and they're going to be doing better shipping for international customers. Won't affect me too much because I'm in Canada, so shipping isn't too bad for me. But it should hopefully be even better now. But the main advantages here are hopefully they're going to be cheaper to produce. Looking at the model prices, it doesn't look like they're changing them too much, but they are giving us more customization options, so that's probably where that trade goes. Um, and then also, hopefully, this means because everything's going to be producible pretty much anywhere, we're not going to run into issues like what we've been seeing with the Mark III battle boxes, where stuff is completely out of production because their supplier stopped supplying them. So that's really, really exciting. I'm all for pushing 3D printing technology to its limits. I love 3D printers. I bought one myself a week ago, and that's really good. I'm very happy to hear this, and I think the quality on these is going to be fantastic. And yeah, there's not really much more to say. This is cool. Moving on, their SKUs. So this is where I start to get a little concerned with the amount of options we're going to have. Here they talk about, also, can I just point out these logos are beautiful. But this is where we're going to talk about the model count for a 50-point army. So they're going to be releasing core army starters. They're going to be about 199 US dollars, and they're going to include 50 points, including options, which is kind of cool. So they're going to be giving you, just for this example here, a caster, obviously. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. A caster, 2 warjacks, presumably 1 heavy, 1 light. I don't actually know which ones, like, I don't know much about the new ones. I haven't memorized which ones are which yet, but presumably that's a heavy and a light there. You're going to get a minimum unit, although I don't know if that word still matters because it seems like all the units I'm seeing are either 6 models or 3 models, so maybe 6 models is the new max. But you're going to get a 6 model unit that includes a standard bearer, which is probably an attachment. Another 6 model unit. You're going to get 2 3 model units, and you get a single solo. So that's 4 units, 2 of which are smaller units, a solo, 2 jacks with a bunch of customization options, and a caster, running you 50 points. That's, I would say, a little bigger, if not the exact same size as Warmachine. I only say bigger because it's 4 units, but also they're smaller units. So really this is about the same size as a Warmachine list, if not smaller even. But that is roughly what this breaks down to. They're also going to be releasing expansion boxes, which will take your 50 points up to 75 points. So these are going to include, for 175, a second caster, another 6-man unit, 2 3-man units, a solo, and a character solo. Now, will they all be the exact same? Probably not, but that's going to be a thing that they're all going to be doing generally, that kind of breakdown. So that's pretty good as well. We're looking at 75 points, including a whopping 7 units, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, only 1 caster will actually be brought in the game, a solo and another solo. And also, this is assuming that you needed all of these models to get to 75 points, but it does specifically say with options. So maybe 7 units is an overestimation. It is interesting to me that there's still only 2 warjacks here. So yes, they have all the customization options, but that does mean you're only running 2 at this point. So maybe picking up warjacks individually won't be a bad idea. They do have price breakdowns for all the individuals. So warjacks are going to be ranging between $35 to $45, and they're going to have their different options for them. You can buy them individually still, and you'll be able to buy both of the ones that come in the starter boxes. The Warcasters are going to go $15 to $25. That's fine. And it does say a single Warcaster not included in any other box. So it sounds like the box Warcasters might be exclusive to the boxes, whereas this one will be sold as a blister or something like that. And then we get the 80mm base solos. So the new not battle engine models. These guys are going to go for 55 to 65, which sounds about right. And they'll just be a single solo model on an 80mm base, which is really cool. The 80mm models look sick, and I cannot wait to own them. So then we're going to see the first year is going to include 6 mercenary solos that will work with each of the 2 different factions, or each work with 2 different factions. I was going to say there's not only 2. So the idea behind this is that retailers can stock their product better, which is definitely a plus. That hopefully brings more players into the game. Really, really hoping that that works out for them because, I mean, that does sound appealing, right? If you're kind of trying to figure out what to do with that shelf space, throwing a couple of these core army starters on the shelf probably won't take up too much space, and they're $200 products. So that's pretty good. I'm not a store owner. I can't talk too much about how that works, but that's cool. So Mark 3 to Mark 4 organized play. I don't do much organized play myself, or any for that matter. But the quick notes here, they're going to be supporting Mark 3 events until the end of 2022. Good for them. They acknowledge that this won't be an instant transition, so they're going with Mark 3 pretty much till, well, right till the end of the year. That's good. And then they're starting new ones in 2023 for Mark 4. Not much to say there. That's probably a good thing. Um, and in-store and club organized play kits are available early 2023. That's a good thing as well. If your locals host tournaments, or if you're interested in getting your locals to host tournaments, that's going to be available for you, and that's good to know. But yeah, at the end of the day, we kind of knew this, right? There's going to be organized play, because otherwise, what's the point of keeping the game competitive, right? So good. What's next? All right, so tomorrow, and that probably means today by the time this video goes up, they're going to be dropping the beta rule document to legacy demo armies, um, and the rules for the Orgoth Sea Raiders and the Signar Storm Legion battle groups. I don't know if that is the two legacy armies that I've been hearing a lot about, but I know we're gonna be getting a Bane's army for Crix, which is really, really exciting for me. Um, and let's see. Yeah, that's the ones that's dropping tomorrow. So Crix and Protectorate. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so excited to see what they're doing with Banes. For anyone who's been following the channel, I play a lot of Crix on here. One of my favorite factions, might be my favorite faction. Legion gives them a run for their money. But Banes are probably my favorite theme in that faction. So I would love to see them do something interesting with Banes, because I really want them to be good. They are just really cool models. And the fact that they're going to be in um, Prime, hopefully, because they're dropping their armies right away, is really, really exciting. We're also going to be able to see rules for the Orgoth Sea Raiders and the Signar Storm Legion battle groups, which is really, really cool. So we got lots of stuff coming up. And then here's the other thing. So Dusk House Callus. So my favorite theory that I've seen for this, and I'm pretty sure that is that logo that we saw here. My favorite theory for this so far is that this is going to be the Eldritch, the Retribution that are like basically undead now. That's really, really exciting, and I'm going to blow my wallet on it. But yeah, so that's kind of been my overview of the update. The app beta releases at the end of October. The armies start shipping out in the fall. This is a pretty tight timeline. I mean, we're only a few months away from this, right? Like this is pretty big. So there's going to be tons of stuff coming out in the next week. They've got a roadmap here, where we're going to see. Obviously, July is right now, so they've announced it, and we're seeing the rules previews. They're going to do battle group previews in early August, and then the starter sets are releasing between September, October. It looks like early October. So these are going to be available very, very soon. Khador's coming out in November, and then we're starting to see expansions as early as January for the new ones. Throughout this, it looks like they're going to be doing tons of legacy content updates pretty much every month going forward. Which is really, really good. So that's going to be hopefully where they start to bring the old models into Prime, and we get to see new rules on all of our old stuff, which is always exciting. That was probably one of the coolest parts about Mark III, right? So that's awesome. And then yeah, the individual Warcasters dropping in November. We got a pretty good timeline here. 80 millimeters. We're waiting all the way till March of next year, which is a bit far off, but you know what? It'll hopefully be worth it, because these models look really, really cool. And then we get that new faction, what was it, Dusk or something like that, coming out in April of next year, which is really, really exciting. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. This is a lot. This is a big update, and there's definitely good and there's definitely bad. And I think at the end of the day, like I said at the beginning of the video here, this update needed to happen, whether you're a fan of it or not. Um, the an update needed to happen, and unfortunately, not everybody was going to win. There was definitely going to be people who were unhappy with this at the end of it, whether it was good or bad. So, um, I'm for one excited. I am a little worried. I'm a little disappointed that there's going to be a legacy format. There's going to be unlimited models. But hopefully they can keep the unlimited format balanced so it can still be fun to play with those models, because that's kind of what matters to me. If I can still play with those models, then I'm going to be really happy. So hopefully they keep that balanced. But even if they don't, this looks good for the company, and that's one thing that I really care about, is making sure I want to see Privateer Press in a good spot, because if they're in a good spot, they're releasing more content. And if they're releasing more content, then the game is alive. And that's one thing that really matters to me. Being able to go play locals and just kind of having a living game is really important. And I think that's one thing this update's going to be really good for, is breathing a little bit of life back into the game. So I hope it works out. I hope everything turns out well. And we'll just kind of have to see where the updates go. So where does this leave the channel? Kind of bringing it round to closer to home here, rather than talking about this on such a large scale. Um, this leaves the channel in a weird state. I've already been kind of in a bit of a Warmachine has been having a lot of feels bads for me in my last few games. If you watch the last all of the battle reports pretty much from the start, um, a lot of the battle reports on the channel have come down to either some jank assassination right at the end of the game, or an utter landslide through the entire game. There are exceptions. There's been some really, really good games. As a matter of fact, I was at the local game store with Reed the other week, and we had probably one of the best games we've ever had of Warmachine. It was fantastic, and I still love this game a lot. But I think, especially combined with the fact that we have a new edition coming out soon, I am going to slow down with the game a little bit, at least until this new edition is in full force. Um, as you saw, I did miss an upload the other week, and I apologize for that, but I think that's going to be more frequent. I think I'm going to drop to one Warmachine video per month instead of two. And the main reason why I'm doing this is, again, partially because the game's we're going into a new update, so games are going to start feeling meaningless pretty soon playing in the old edition. Um, but then the other reason for that is I've just been enjoying playing all of the war games lately, not just Warmachine. And Warmachine is definitely one of those games where I feel like if I play too much of it, and I feel like I have been playing too much of it, I'm gonna get burnt out on it, because it's such a high level of thinking game. Whereas a lot of the other war games that I play are a little bit more casual, or can be a little bit more casual. So I've been really enjoying Star Wars Legion lately. I've been wanting to play more of that. I know when Dean comes back, because he's away right now for the summer, but when he comes back up here, um, I want to play more X-Wing, Star Wars X-Wing. I've got the Fallout Wasteland Warfare I've been wanting to play. And I know Reed's been trying to get me to play the Lord of the Rings game forever. So there's tons of war games that I play, and I haven't been representing any of them really, except for Warmachine on this channel. And I think that should change sooner or later. So it's kind of weird timing, because I'm both trying to be hyped about this update, but also trying to move away from Warmachine at the same time. But I think that is something that's going to happen. So going forward, I'm gonna still be trying to do two uploads a month. This month was a weird one, because I had a lot of stuff going on with my company. But I think going forward, I'm gonna stick to at least two uploads a month, but only one of them will be Warmachine. So that'll also help me kind of push the channel towards doing more than just Warmachine, because that's something I've wanted from the start. But just something that I kind of wanted to make sure was mentioned, and I guess this is kind of a good type of video to do that. But going back kind of more on topic here, overall with the changes, I'm really happy about this. I think this is a good thing for the game overall, and that's enough for me to be happy about this. So, Warmachine Mark IV, it's here, or it's coming at least, and it's really exciting. So, leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to have a discussion on this. I'm also on the Discords. I think I'm just Ztrox there, so if you see me there, feel free to start up a conversation about this because I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on this. I think this is definitely a huge change that the game is going to go through, and that's exciting to me. So I'm down to talk about this with as many of you as possible. But until next video, which, like I said, will be a Warmachine video. I have one sitting on the back burner. I've just got to edit up still. Um, until then, though, everyone have a great rest of your day, and I guess we'll see all these updates because we get to see the new rules today when this goes live. So that's really exciting. But until then, peace.